infrastructure platform, if you like, for doing bioinformatics for the Australian research population. And it's really catalysed by a couple of things. The first is what researchers want, and I think we had a really good keynote earlier today, where clearly expertise in training and doing stuff is what researchers are after. Interestingly, when you look down the sort of list of what researchers want and what they might want a national facility to do, actually getting access to data and whatnot is quite low down on the list. But I think that that's not necessarily the case now or into the future. And the other catalyst for the Genomics Virtual Lab project is not just what do researchers think they want, but what do they actually need and what are they going to need in the future, right? So this was published just a couple of days ago in Nature. It's about this idea of a data commons, which is really means that as we evolve into the next generation of bioinformatics, the data itself becomes more important than the compute and the tools. So yes, we need all the tools, yes, we need all the compute, but getting data and getting access to the data and getting the compute to and the tools to that data is more and more important. So there are initiatives in Elixir in Europe and the National Institutes of Health around this idea of the common idea of a data commons. Okay, so in a rare display of government foresight, the Australian government built or funded a national research cloud about 4 years ago. Put a lot of money into it, and around about $100 million. And it's a very significant resource now with about 30,000 cores spread across Australia. Australia's not a very big country, so that's quite a significant compute facility and data storage, and it's distributed around the country. It's provided both a compute resource but also a platform for people to develop, sort of an equal platform for people to develop on the same compute resource, and that's a very powerful thing to invest in. So on top of the Australian Research Cloud, which is the nectar that was referred to in the previous talk by Sebastian, we're building the Australian Genomics Virtual Laboratory, and this is a suite of training resources and the ability to build arbitrary sort of workbench or computational workbenches which can be deployed on the cloud. Thankfully, Sebastian also talked about CloudMan. When you start up a Genomics Virtual Lab workbench on the Australian Research Cloud, you get a suite of services. Some of them, or all of them, you'll probably be familiar with. Pre-configured Galaxy, CloudMan, which was talked about at length, and I would like to say a very special thank you to a new one, Guna Sekera, who is here and has been working for us the past 3 years, contributing to CloudMan and making it work with OpenStack. A desktop, virtual desktop, IPython notebook, RStudio, basically all the things that researchers are going to need if they want to do bioinformatics, pre-wrapped, if you like, with access to reference genomes and whatnot. How am I going? Wow, 2 minutes left. There's an integration between the workbench and our training material, so we had some really comprehensive training across Galaxy and the command line and RStudio, and we're trying to align that with data carpentry and the Galaxy training network and some of the more advanced training resources that come out of the European Bioinformatics Institute and whatnot, so that they all run on this same platform, and then people can go and launch their own platforms transiently, that is, launch platform, do some compute on it, shut it down, and save the important stuff, which is the data artifacts, that is, the histories and the analysed data and whatnot. And essentially free them up from a single compute platform to this idea of sort of deployable transient compute platforms that are reproducible. So that brings us back to what researchers want. Clearly, researchers want the expertise to do best practice bioinformatics, the training to get them there. In order to do best practice bioinformatics, you need best practice bioinformatics platforms and tools and access to data, and that is really where we are headed with the Genomics Virtual Lab project. So in summary, I was going to have a poster, but it's got lost in transit. So here is all you need to know if you want to know a little bit more about the Genomics Virtual Lab project. Genome.edu.au summarises not just the workbench, but the training materials and really the philosophy and what we're trying to achieve. Thank you.